Hi everyone. So this reading is going to be for anyone who is intentionally manifesting something. I'm going to lay out a 7 card spread. And I almost said Kevin, so I don't know, that could be significant for somebody. But I'm going to do a 7 card spread for our manifestations. And it's going to be very intentional what I put in each spot. So there's going to be, again, like I said, 7 spots. This spot is for what you're being called to do. This one is your superpower. This one is what gives you energy. This one is what does your intuition tell you? This one is what is already clear to you. What resources do you have? And what is actually being manifested. So those are our 7 questions. Underneath, we have the High Priestess. So this could be a very intuitively guided thing for you. But let's see. I'd like to add 2 more oracle cards to each of these places in the spread. I'm using the archetypes and then the prism oracle. So we're going to add 1 card to each of these positions. And then 1 from the prism oracle. Okay, so there we have it. So we'll start with this position on what you are being called to do. So we have the moon, the queen, and peace. I'm gonna do those like that. So it may not be super clear to you exactly what you're being called to do, but you are well aware that you are being called to something. There is this feeling coming through that you are going through some kind of an awakening right now with the moon. Peace is giving me this idea that the same thing that the High Priestess was giving me, it feels like your crown chakra is really open and ready to receive. And with this queen energy, it feels like you're really ready to just surrender and go with the flow. There's a wisdom coming through with the queen, but also a sense of courage and a sense of grace. And I'm getting grace from all 3 of these. I'm getting grace from the queen, from peace, and from the moon. So you may not be super clear what you're being called to do, but you're just well aware that you are being called to something, that maybe it's just an entirely new way of being for you and your life, but that's what this is giving me so far. So let's look at your superpower. So you have the 7 of Cups, Ghost, and the Ring. So there's a lot that you can tap into with the Ghost and the 7 of Cups. It's very much telling me that you are in a state right now where you can tap into a lot of things. It feels to me like this is the beginning of something for you. The Ring is a commitment to things. It can be ongoing cycles of things. But with the 7 of Cups and the Ghost, I'm getting the impression that your superpower is to be so adaptable that you can tap into a myriad of things, that perhaps you have more than one superpower. And we already now have 2 of these white prism cards coming through, which is really giving me a great sense that you are connected to the upper realms. You're connected to the quantum field. You could be connected to ancestors, spirit guides, but you have a good sense of connection to the other world, the astral realm, so to speak, and not just the earth realm. And so I feel like because you have access to so many different portals and information and ancestors and beings, that it feels like you could really do anything you want if you just tap into all of those different things that you have access to. So this is what gives you energy. So we have the 3 of Swords, movement, and the Mentor. I think that you are meant to help other people. I think that you are meant to heal other people. With this Three of Swords energy, I feel like you can, especially with this idea that your crown chakra is so open and you're so intuitive, that I feel like you can very easily tap into other people's heart spaces and really recognize their pain, and that you can get really enmeshed in that. And so, but you, with the mentor, you have this ability to also see the bigger picture. So you can zoom in on people's pain, but then zoom out to be able to see the bigger picture and to really get a clear vision and a focus on what that is. And I think that's bringing us back to this Seven of Cups idea, where it feels like you have a lot of different talents and a lot of different skills. But I do think that you are meant to heal other people, is what this is giving. The mentor is giving this idea that you have a vision of how to do it, and you can really move the energy in people's heart chakras in order to really give them the healing and the light and the space and the energy they need to really do that healing and lighten up the energy around their heart chakra. And I think that in turn that gives you energy back, that the energy you pour into them is actually a reciprocal thing, because it fills your bucket, so to speak. It charges your battery every time you charge other people's batteries. So it's like this idea that it's just as good for you as it is for them, but it's this like graceful give and take. With the Queen and Peace, we're getting that graceful feeling. And so that's what I have. So this position is, what does your intuition tell you? So we have the Queen of Pentacles, happiness, and the animal. This is almost saying, your intuition is almost saying to keep it simple, to just be your own nurturing self when it comes to healing other people, because that alone is going to bring you that comfort, that happiness. There's a passion here for you with this Queen of Pentacles, and it feels like there's something here about the way that you live and like taking care of that's it. It's self-care. Thank you. It's this self-care that's coming through here, where it's like, just meet your own needs. The happiness is showing in an orange color, and that's representing your sacral chakra. So your intuition is saying, don't neglect your own survival needs. So don't neglect your hunger. Don't neglect your ego. Don't neglect your creative urges. Don't neglect your sexual urges, whatever that is for you. But it's saying to really, to ground yourself in that, because you're going to be working so much in these upper chakras, I'm getting, as far as whatever you're manifesting in, that you're going to be such a healer and such a mentor for other people, that it's really important. Your intuition is very strongly saying to keep yourself grounded and keep yourself and your lower chakras just as taken care of as perhaps your upper chakras once you start bringing this in. So this position is what is already clear to you. So there's the Four of Cups, surrender, and the Orphan. So there's a part of this that is already very clear to you, but there's another part of it that is still unclear, because the Four of Cups and the Moon are both telling me that. So this position is reminding me that you're not really totally clear exactly yet on what you're being called to do or what you're manifesting in. But we have another crown chakra coming through here with surrender. And we'd already said that with the Queen, with Peace, there's this idea that you're surrendering to whatever you're being called to. And with the Orphan, you do know that you're being called to help people who are hurting somewhere in their heart space, that whether they're grieving something, whether they're healing from heart wounds, childhood wounds, learning to accept things, it feels like you are the person who's going to really help them to do that, to help them learn to accept and surrender. But with this Four of Cups, you're still not quite sure in what form that's going to take, but you just know this intuitively about yourself. So this position is, what resources do you already have? We have the Eight of Cups, Illumination, and the Warrior. So you're a very strong person. This warrior is very clear that you know how to move forward. You know which direction to move in. You have a very clear vision about what that looks like, about where you're going. And so that can be very resourceful in this case where we said you don't really know where you're going, but you have the ability to see where you're going. It's this, again, you're so tapped into your crown chakra that you're able to have a vision of at least some of this. And this illumination is reminding us that too, and that High Priestess card popped out too. Let's bring her back. But this popped out too. So we know that this is part of the energy. And so I do really get a strong sense that your vision is very clear as long as you start tapping into it and keep that crown chakra open. But it's also why it's important to really feed those lower chakras and keep those in good and grounded so that you don't fly off into the other realms and neglect the other part of the earth energy part of you. But I like that we have this 8 of Cups in what's in your resources, because it tells me that you have the ability to emotionally detach. And if you're getting to zoom in on other people's, I just saw 1111 as I said that. But if your destiny is to zoom in on other people's wounds, then there is a need for you to emotionally detach so that you don't get wrapped up in all of their energies, all of their emotions, their feelings, and their wounds. So this is very good in the sense that you'll be very clear, or you already are very clear. Even if you are an empathic person, even if you do pick up on other people's energies already, you are very clear about which ones are yours and which ones are not yours, which ones belong to you and which ones do not belong to you, is what this illumination is telling me. And your solar plexus is going to really be able to help you distinguish those things too, because that's where your confidence comes from. And I think your confidence is going to say, no, that doesn't belong to me. That belongs to this person that I'm trying to heal. So finally, let's look at what is being manifested. So we have the 6 of Swords, hunger, and the flame. So hunger and the flame are giving me very similar energies that this happiness and this illumination. It's a lower chakra type of energy, but this to me feels like it's other people's lower chakra energy. So you're going to be tapping into their wounds and their lower chakras in order to figure out what drives them to increase their confidence, to increase their heart space. This is what you're being called to do. This is what you're manifesting. You're manifesting escape for people with the 6 of Swords. You're manifesting them into this state of where they're releasing mental conflict. They're releasing a lack of confidence. And you with the flame are bringing them a good sense of their solar plexus lighting up and being confident. And you're helping them again to escape whatever the sadness is of the orphan and the sadness of the 3 of Swords. You're going to help people really put it in perspective and help them to heal their lower chakras so that they can escape that feeling and really thrive with the flame. So it does feel to me that what you are being called to do is you're manifesting in all of your abilities right now. We're seeing a lot of the crown chakra, but we're also seeing some of these lower chakras too, where it's you're really tapping into your intuition. You're tapping into your knowingness to know that you are being called to do something. But to me, it looks like you're being called to help people, to mentor people, and to really help people focus and heal so that you can bring vitality to their lives with the flame and help them escape from their hurt and their wounds. So, wow. So that is your reading on what you're being called to do. Will you please let me know how this was resonant for you? Consider subscribing to the channel if you like my vibe, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.